In September of this year, it will be 5 years since we packed up our belongings in the UK and moved here to the north of Sweden. We did so to follow our daughter's family, our three grandsons, who'd made the same move just over 12 months before. And but being around my grandchildren and watching them grow and develop in their new country is magical. But what nobody warned you about is the hidden ledger of making such a move. You see, we also have a son back in the UK, married, but with no children at the time. But they've since had two young ones, Yui and Margot. And I rarely get to see them. It's the financial restraints is the polite way to put it. But let's be honest, I have to live with a guilt that I feel that I've chosen half of my family over the other half. Nobody really warns you about that trade-off when you have a family and you move overseas. And that thought sits with me heavily and more than I let on. And by the end of this video, I want to talk about what Sweden has given me and Julia, my wife, and it's something that Britain left behind many years ago. My heart doesn't work the way it used to. That's not a metaphor. That's what the cardiologist told me after my heart attack. I take 6 tablets a day to stay alive, but this landscape, the evening light through the trees, this is the 7th tablet that keeps me going. It's the only one that isn't on prescription, and it's the only one that's free. Driving these forest roads alone, as I often do, I reflect on my upbringing and the environment that I grew up in and how it compares to where we live now. And an example of that is that growing up in the UK, I was taught that standards required a uniform. Unpolished shoes or a loose tie meant failure. When I moved from the garage floor into management, it was the same lesson, but in a different collar, suit and tie, every single day, no matter what the weather. Sweden just doesn't play that game. Go past a Swedish schoolyard, there's more fashion on display than London Fashion Week. You can spot the fledgling metalheads from the future ice hockey pros instantly, and I love it. Why? Because parents aren't broke trying to fund Harry Potter-esque uniforms, and nobody is judged on what they wear. The discipline and respect I thought required a uniform. The Swedes have it in abundance without one. I rarely see anyone go to work in a suit, and workplace efficiency doesn't take a knock. If anything, it's the opposite. So a word of advice, if you're thinking of moving here to start a business, do not open a formal clothing shop. You will starve. I didn't exactly plan my retirement. I was made to stop working 2 years earlier than I had intended, in a country where I was still learning the rules. No warning, no real say. One day I had a job to do, colleagues, a salary, and then, in a heartbeat, it was a version of retirement I just didn't know how to fill. So I started the rebuilding process, aligning the finances, improving fitness, more time with the wife Julia, and then Dash died, our dog. Suddenly I stopped walking 8 kilometers a day because there was no him to walk with. I won't dress it up. At 67, newly retired, inactivity is a dangerous slope, and I slipped right into it. But as I film this video, I'm climbing out of that slump. I have to. Now here's the part that I don't talk about often on this channel. Um, since my heart attack, I tend to get a little bit wrapped up with my own mortality. It's not that I worry about myself. I worry about Julia. We've been married for over 40 years, and we laugh together. We like spending time in each other's company. We drive each other absolutely crackers. But the truth is, we're very dependent on each other. Julia is quite settled here now. Um, she will tell you herself. She's built a nice life here. Like me, she clearly misses the family back in the UK. But should anything happen to me, Julia is a long way from what she recognises as a true home. I'm not telling you this for sympathy, far from it, because it's a genuine cost and should therefore be a consideration of any late life move overseas. Now, am I alone in feeling like this? You know, if you yourself have made such a move, what are your feelings towards this? Have you experienced something similar, or if not, how do you deal with it? Or even if you know you're planning on moving overseas at some point, is it something that you're giving consideration to? Is it something that would prevent you from making the move? Let me know. Drop it in the comments. I really would like to know. After a relatively short period of time, Sweden stopped being the place that I moved to, and it became the place that I live. It's not a single moment, it's an accumulation of familiar roads and day-to-day activities. But the reality here is never far away. I hold a residence card, not citizenship, and it expires in 3 months. If you ask me where home is, there's no hesitation. It's England. Sweden is where I live. That's a legal distinction, not a sentimental one. And the migration board reminds me of it every time I look at my resident card. People often ask me what shocked me most after moving here to Sweden. Well, it's not the winter, it's not the cost of groceries, it's not the food. It's how much this place reminds me of the Britain that I grew up in before he got eroded. Care in the community, safety, an efficient healthcare system. Sweden have two words that act as the bedrock of this society. Lagom, meaning just the right amount, knowing when enough is enough. And Jantelagen, a cultural code that says you don't boast, you don't big yourself up, and you don't put yourself above anyone else. Now it takes some getting used to, but I live amongst it every day, and it's the best surprise Sweden has given me. I don't know what the future holds. None of us do. But what I hope for is quite simple really. It's my family's health and enough money and time to be around them. So a career cut short in a new country, premature retirement, a heart attack, losing my walking buddy Dash. But I do consider myself fortunate to be able to take on these challenges in a country that's reminded me a lot about community and the importance of it. So 5 years in, I have no regrets. and it's time now to do what I've always done and just get on with it. So thanks for watching. Um, check out last week's video where I talk about the challenges of moving to a new country and not speaking the language. Hopefully you'll find that interesting. And yeah, have a great weekend, and I'll see you soon.